Good afternoon. The pre conference is called to order. Before we begin, may I call on Ms. General Francisco for the prayer.
May we all stand for the opening prayer. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for blessings and help as we gather together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you will show us how to conduct our work in the spirit of joy. This we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Once again, good afternoon to the members of the Leads and Awards Committee, DPWH and Secretariat, to our presenters, the Procurement Unit, headed by Engineer Bldg, yes, and to everyone who is watching via YouTube channel of DPWH Regional Office 9 Procurement Livestream. Welcome to the pre conference for various implemented by DPWH Regional Office 9. For the record, today is July 16, 2026, and to confirm forum, may I call on Engineer Raya for the attendance.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. We would like to acknowledge the presence of the following for the pre-bid of various infra projects. For our government side, present are the regional bank members, headed by our bank chairperson, Attorney Beverly D. Montealvo. Our bank regular members, Engineer Hadija S. Salajan, Engineer Danilo O. De Leon, and Attorney Alain Zhang C. Duran. Our bank professional member for project procurement, Engineer Michael D. Torino. We would also like to acknowledge the presenters from the Planning and Design Division, Engineer Ernest James Amio, Engineer Ben-Hur Jumaydi, Engineer Adrian Balanan, and Engineer Martin Adrian Zamora. Invitation was also sent to the resident auditor of Commission and Audit, Mr. Frederick R. Chong, National Director of National Constructors Association of the Philippines, Incorporated. Ms. Maria Ana G. Tumol, the Executive Director of Philippine Green Building Council. Mr. Faisal Asiman, President of Zamboanga Contractors Association, however non-attended. We would also like to acknowledge the members of the procurement unit headed by Engineer Bldg. For the contractors invited, however non-attended. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Engineer Raya. With 5 out of 7 members present, quorum is hereby confirmed. We will now proceed with our pre-read conference. For our agenda, we have the brief presentation of the basic contract data, the requirements of leading documents, the documents to be submitted by leaders, the criteria and procedure, the questions and comments from leaders, other matters, and lastly, summary proceedings, including issuance of bid or supplemental bid bulletins. We will now proceed with the brief presentation of the basic contract data.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Attorney, Chiefs, and everyone. I am Marty Zamora from Planning and Design Division. For the first project, we have the contract ID of 25JO0287, contract name, repair, maintenance of DPWH building, DPWH Regional Office 9, Building Survey Planning and Design Division, repair maintenance of DPWH building, DPWH Regional Office Building, Survey Planning and Design Division. Location, Zamboanga City. Implementing Office, DPWH Regional 9, Maintenance Division. Funding source, General Appropriation Act, fiscal year of 2025. Approved budget for the contract is 1,383,279.70 pesos. Scope of works is building renovation. Contract duration is 63 calendar days. The major category of works is PIRN, building renovation. For under similar category of works, the required track record shall be the following: BIRN, building renovation. Contracts similar to the project shall be those described as follows: BIC, building completion; BIC, WOPHS, PHC, buildings construction without piles, high-rise, concrete frame, 6 and above stories; BIC, WOPH, C16, buildings construction without piles, high-rise, concrete frame, 16 and above stories; BIC, WOPH, S16, buildings construction without piles, high-rise, steel frame, 16 and above stories; BIC, WOPHS, buildings construction without piles, high-rise, steel frame, 6 and above stories; BIC, WOPALC, buildings construction without piles, low-rise, concrete frame, 1 to 5 stories; BIC, WOPLS, buildings construction without piles, low-rise, steel frame, 1 to 5 stories; BIC, WOPNC, buildings construction without piles, medium-rise, concrete frame with 6 to 15 stories; BIC, WOPMS, buildings construction without piles, medium-rise, steel frame with 6 to 15 stories; BIC, WPH, CCP, buildings construction with piles, high-rise, concrete frame, cast-in-place piles with 6 and above stories; BIC, WPH, CCP16, buildings construction with piles, high-rise, concrete frame, cast-in-place piles with 16 and above stories; BIC, WPH, CDP, buildings construction with piles, high-rise concrete frame, driven piles 6 and above stories. BICWPH CDP 16 buildings construction with piles, high-rise concrete frame, driven piles with 16 and above stories. BICWPH SCP buildings construction with piles, high-rise steel frame, casing place piles, 6 and above stories. BICWPH SCP-16 buildings construction with piles, high-rise steel frame, casing place piles with 16 and above stories. BICWPH SDP buildings construction with piles, high-rise steel frame, driven piles with 6 and above stories. BICWPH SDP-16 buildings construction with piles, high-rise steel frame, driven piles with 16 and above stories. BICWPL-CCP buildings construction with piles, low-rise, concrete frame, casing place piles with 1 to 5 stories. BICWPL-CDP buildings construction with piles, low-rise, concrete frame, driven piles with 1 to 5 stories. BICWPL-SCP buildings construction with piles, low-rise steel frame, casing place piles with 1 to 5 stories. BICWPL-SDP buildings construction with piles, low-rise steel frame, driven piles with 1 to 5 stories. BICWPM-CCP buildings construction with piles, medium-rise concrete frame, casing place piles with 6 to 15 stories. BICWPM-CDP buildings construction with piles, medium-rise concrete frame, driven piles with 6 to 15 stories. BICWPM-SCP buildings construction with piles, medium-rise steel frame, casing place piles with 6 to 15 stories. BICWPM-SDP buildings construction with piles, medium-rise steel frame, driven piles with 6 to 15 stories. BIRS buildings restoration, birth buildings retrofitting high-rise, birth 16 buildings retrofitting high-rise with 16 and above stories. BIRTL buildings retrofitting low-rise with 1 to 5 stories. BIRTM buildings retrofitting. For the minimum major equipment requirements are the following. We have 1 backhoe, 2 dump truck, 1 plate compactor, 1 car bender, 1 car cutter, 2 welding machine, 1 cutting outfit, 1 truck mounted crane, and 1 bagger mixer. For the minimum work experience requirement for the key personnel are the following. 1 project manager with a general experience of 5 years and a relevant experience of 3 years. 1 DPWH accredited project engineer 1 with 5 years of general experience and 3 years of relevant experience. 1 DPWH accredited materials engineer 1 with a general and relevant experience of accredited material engineer 1. 1 safety and health officer with 3 years of general experience and 2 years of relevant experience. 1 foreman with 5 years of general experience and 3 years of relevant experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Diversion from the Planning and Design Division. So for the next contract ID 26J00054, contract name, road widening, primary roads, Maharlika Highway, Pagadian City-Zamboanga City Road, with S01328 K1656 plus 240 to K1658 plus 332 and K1658 plus 549 to K1658 plus 900. Location, Zamboanga Workers, District Engineering Office, Implementing Office, DPWH Regional Office 9, Construction Division, Funding Source, General Appropriations Act, Fiscal Year 2026, approved budget for the contract for ABC, 132,308,777.95 pesos. Scope of works, roads, construction PCCP 2.39 kilometer, contract duration 300 calendar days. Next. For the major and similar category of works, major category of works, RCP, roads, construction, PCCP. Similar category of works, RRP, roads, rehabilitation, PCCP, RCPP, roads, construction, tunnel, PCCP. For the new major equipment requirements are the following. Applicator machine, 1 asphalt distributor with 300 USG, 1 asphalt paver, 80 with 80 horsepower capacity, 1 backhoe, 0.80 cubic meter, 1 backhoe with pavement breaker, 0.80 cubic meter, 1 backhoe wheel type, 0.28 cubic meter, 1 bar bender, 3 phase, 35 millimeter diameter max, 1 bar cutter with 25 millimeter diameter max, 1 boom truck, 2 to 5 metric ton, 1 bulldozer, EX175, 1 cargo truck, 2 to 5 metric ton, 1 cargo truck, 9 to 10 metric ton, 1 cold milling machine, 1 meter milling width, max depth of 300 millimeter, 1 concrete batching plant, 30 cubic meter, 1 concrete saw, 40 inches blade diameter with 4 and 3/4 inches cutting depth, 1 concrete spreader, 5.5 inch power, 2 concrete vibrator, 2 inches head diameter with 5 amp gas drive, 2 dump truck, 12 cubic yard, 1 generator set, 5 kilowatt, 1 low bed trailer, 1 mechanized joint sealer machine, 1 motorized road trailer with 104 horsepower, 1 payloader, 120 cubic meter, 1 tape compactor, 1 pneumatic tire roller, 1 power broom, 1 tandem steel roller, 4 transit mixer, 1 laboratory roller, 1 water truck. For the new work experience requirements for key personnel are the following. 1 project manager with 5 years of general experience and 3 years of relevant experience. 1 project engineer 1 with 5 years of general experience and 3 years of relevant experience. 1 DPWH accredited materials engineer 1 with general experience and relevant experience of accredited materials engineer 1. 1 safety and health officer with 3 years of general experience and 2 years of relevant experience, and 1 foreman with 5 years of general experience and 3 years of relevant experience. Next, for the contract ID 26J0071, contract name, construction of bypass and diversion roads, Ipil Circumferential Road, Sanito Bridge, Station 16 plus 607 to Station 16 plus 719.90, Ipil-Zamboanga, Sibugay. Location, Zamboanga, Sibugay. Implementing Office, DPWH Regional Office 9 Construction Division. Funding source, General Appropriations Act of GAA Fiscal Year 2026. Approved budget for the contract for ABC, 68,245,620. Scope of works, bridges, construction, concrete superstructure with cast-in-place piles, 90.90 linear meter, contract duration of 276 calendar days.
For the major and similar category of works, so the major category of works, DCCP, bridges, construction, concrete superstructure with cast-in-place piles. Under similar category of works is BRPCCP, bridges, retrofitting, concrete superstructure with cast-in-place piles. For the minimum major equipment requirements are the following: 1 payloader, 1 plate compactor, 1 roller crane, 1 truck-mounted crane, 1 backhoe with grader, 1 diesel hammer, 1 vibro hammer, 1 bagger mixer, 2 transit mixer, 3 dump truck, 1 cargo or service truck, 4 cargo or service truck with 9 to 10 metric ton, 2 water truck or pump, 1 air compressor, 2 jackhammer, 1 welding machine, 1 generator set, 2 concrete vibrator, 1 bar cutter, 1 bar bender, 1 concrete batch plant, 1 jackhammer, 1 cutting outfit, and 1 low bed trailer. For the minimum work experience requirement for key personnel is shown from the previous slides.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bldg from Planning and Design Division. For our next contract, we have the 26J00074 contract name widening of permanent bridges, Surabay Bridge, B00507MN along Maharlika Highway, Lanao-Pagadian-Zamboanga City Road. Location, Zamboanga Sibugay 2nd District Office, Implementing Office, DPWH Regional Office 9, Construction Division. Funding source, General Operations Act, Fiscal Year 2026. Approved budget for the contract, we have 59,880,420 pesos. Scope of works, bridges, construction, concrete, superstructure with casting baked piles, 56.70 billion. Contract duration, we have 246 calendar days. For major or similar category of works, major category of works, BCCP, bridges, construction, concrete, superstructure with casting baked piles. Similar category of works, BRTCCP, bridges with operating concrete, superstructure with casting based piles. The minimum major equipment requirements are the following: 1 payloader, 1 plate compactor, 1 roller crane, 1 truck-mounted crane, 1 backhoe with breaker, 1 diesel hammer, 1 vibro hammer, 1 bagger mixer, 2 transit mixer, 3 dump truck, 1 cargo service truck, 4 cargo or service truck, 2 water truck or pump, 1 air compressor, 2 jackhammer, 1 welding machine, 1 generator set, 2 concrete vibrator, 1 bar cutter, 1 bar bender, 1 concrete batch plant, 1 drop hammer, 1 cutting outfit, and 1 low bed trailer. For the minimum work experience requirements for key personnel are the following, as shown on previous slides. For the bid security, bid validity period, 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids. Bid security validity period, 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids. The bidder shall submit a bid securing declaration of any form of bid security enumerated below: cash, cashier check, and manager check, 2%. Bank draft or guarantee, irrevocable letter of credit and surety bond, 5%. For the eligibility requirements, Class A documents, legal documents, registration certificate from SPC BPI for slow proprietorship or CDA for cooperatives, mayor's permit issued by the city or municipal where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, tax clearance certificate as finally reviewed and approved by the BIR. For the technical documents, we have a PCAP and PCAP of special PCAP license in case of GV. Records of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including awarded but not yet started. Records of single largest completed contract or SLCC, similar to the contract to the bid. Adjusted to the current price using Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA current price index. with a contract amount equivalent to at least 50% of the ABC. A contract shall be considered similar to the contract to be bid if it has following categories as shown in the previous slide of the contract data. For the financial documents, audited financial statements stamps received by the BIR of its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. Computation of NFCC at least equal to ABC. For the Class B documents for the joint venture, we have the valid joint venture agreement of GBA. All of these documents will be electronically evaluated using the Civil Works application or the CWA. For the submission and receipt of bids. Contents of the first envelope or technical proposal. Valid field reps, certificate of registration of platinum membership in accordance with Section 20 of the IRR. Valid tax clearance certificate. Valid business or mayor's permit. Valid DPI certificate of business name registration or SEC registration. PCAB license and registration. Latest income and business tax returns and audited financial statement. Class B documents at any, special PCAB JV license and valid joint venture agreement. Statement of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to the bid. Statement of the bidders, SLCC in accordance with IPD Clause 5.5. The SLCC shall be supported by an owner certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the CPES, or a similar performance and monitoring system. In case of contracts with private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. NFCC computation in accordance with the ITB Clause 5.6, bid security in a prescribed form and amount in accordance with ITB Clause 16 and validity period under ITB Clause 15, project requirements which shall include the following: organizational chart of the personnel to be deployed for the procurement project to be bid, list of contractors personnel, example, project manager, project engineers, material engineers, and foreman to be assigned to the procurement project to be bid with their complete qualifications and experience data. These personnel must meet the required minimum years of experience set in the BDS. List of contractors' major equipment units which own, leased, or under purchase agreements, supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project, as the case may be, which must meet the minimum requirements for the contract set in the BTS, and omnibus sworn statement in accordance with Section 54.3 of the IRR, latest general information sheet or GIS reflecting the beneficial ownership information or BOI duly received by the Security and Exchange Commission or SEC for corporation, and constructor performance evaluation system or CPES rating as per DO 171 series of 2025, or an owner's certificate of final acceptance or equivalent for private sector's contracts, ISO 9001-2015 certification or at least latest version as applicable in accordance with DPWH Department Order Number 110 Series of 2024. The contents of the second envelope or the financial proposal: duly signed bid form, duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities, duly initiated Detailed estimates including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid. Duly initial quarterly or monthly cash flow and payment schedule.
For bid evaluation, the financial component of the bids of each past bidder shall be evaluated using non-discretionary criteria, including arithmetical corrections for computational errors, and thus determine the correct total calculated bid prices. The box shall automatically disqualify any total calculated bid price which exceeds the ABC. The following factors are to be considered in the evaluation of the bid prices. First is completeness. No price in required item non-responsive, indicating a zero or a dash, free to the government. All prices are deemed to include all taxes. Bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bidding documents including, where applicable, BOQ shall be considered non-responsive. Next is ABC disqualified. For post qualification, verification, validation, and ascertainment of all statements made and documents submitted, legal requirements, licenses, certificates, permits, agreements, and exclusion and in blacklist. Technical requirements, key personnel, minimum work experience requirements should be satisfied. Availability and commitment of major construction equipment. Performance in ongoing government and private contracts. Authenticity and correctness of bid security. The following qualifier shall be applied to this contract with experience of at least 400 meters horizontal length of steel sheet piling works. Note, the above qualifiers must be supported with certificate of acceptance and bill of quantities. For financial requirements, bid price proposal and NFCC. The list of key personnel as shown in the previous slides. List of key equipments may be owned, leased, and or other purchase under purchase agreements supported by certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project, as shown in the previous slides. Contract award. The contract shall be awarded to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated and responsive bid or LCRB as a result of the detailed evaluation and post-qualification conducted. Contract award shall be made within the bid validity period. Notes on subcontracting. Subcontracting is not allowed. Common errors in the submission of bids. Incomplete pages of bids. Technical and financial. Authority of the signatory to sign on behalf of the bidder. Single proprietor. Signatory should be the owner or proprietor only, corporation or cooperative, board secretary certificate, and board resolution. Joint venture resolution or agreement, partnership as indicated in the articles of partnership. Sealing and marking of bids. Bidders shall enclose their technical documents described in ITP Clause 12 in one sealed envelope, marked technical component, and the financial component in another sealed envelope marked financial component, sealing them all in an outer envelope marked bid. The bid shall be typed or written in ink and shall be signed by the bidder or its duly authorized representatives. All envelopes shall A. Contain the name of the contract to be bid in capital letters. B. Bear the name and address of the bidder in capital letters. C. Be addressed to the procuring entities back in accordance with ITP Clause 18.1. D. Bear the specific identification of the bidding process indicated in the ITP Clause 1.1. And lastly, bear a warning, do not open before the date and time for the opening of bids in accordance with ITP Clause 19. For manually submitted bid envelopes that are not properly sealed and marked as required in the bidding documents, the same shall be accepted, provided that the bidder or its duly authorized representative shall acknowledge such condition of the bid as submitted. On the other hand, unsealed or unmarked bid envelopes or bids that cannot be opened or corrupted in case of online submission shall be rejected. The bank shall assume no responsibility for misplaced or lost contents of the improperly sealed or marked bid or for its premature opening. The bidder shall submit one original copy and two copies of the first technical and second financial components of its bid.
For the sample copy of financial and technical component, the original copy of technical component as shown, the original copy of financial component as shown, the first copy of technical component as shown, the first copy of financial component as shown, the second copy of technical component as shown, the second copy of financial component as shown. For the schedules, deadline for submission of clarification is July 13, 2026. Attorney Beverly V. Monte Alto, Awud, Chief Rowell, back for chairperson with telephone number 062-9933037, Reynilda Gitan, Engineer 3, OIC Head, Back Secretariat, DPWH Regional Office 9, Veterans Avenue Extension, Lanao-Pagadian-Zamboanga City, the telephone number 062-993-3037, and an email address of tan.reynilda@dpwh.gov.ph. Deadline for submission of bids is July 23, 2026 at 10 a.m. Number of copies of bid proposal, one original copy and two copies of the first technical and second financial envelope of its bid. Place of submission of bids, Procurement Unit, DPWH Regional Office 9, Veterans Avenue Extension, Lanao-Pagadian-Zamboanga City, or an email address of electronic bids, Region 9, r9@dpwh.gov.ph for electronic bid submission. Livestream on YouTube at dpwh.ro.09.
Madam Chair, the DOC Secretariat would like to remind all the prospective bidders to please be guided accordingly on the important department orders and memoranda issued by the Department of Public Works and Highways, which shall be considered in the preparation and completion of their bidding documents and in the implementation of infrastructure projects. Department Order Number 98, Series of 2016, revised guidelines on the accreditation of contractors or consultants materials engineers. This order prescribes the qualifications and procedures for the accreditation of contractors and consultants materials engineers. Applicants must be licensed civil engineers and must pass the required written examinations, while those seeking accreditations as materials engineer too must also pass a practical examination. The order aims to ensure that only competent and qualified materials engineers are assigned to DPWH projects. Department Order Number 227, Series of 2024, suspension of the Department Order Number 148, Series of 2024. This order temporarily suspends the implementation of the accreditation and assignment requirements for the contractors and consultants project engineers due to the limited availability of accredited engineers. However, the suspension does not apply to building and bridge projects, and accreditation examinations will continue to be conducted. Memorandum dated June 25, 2024, implementation of assigning accredited contractors and consultants project engineers. This memorandum reminds contractors and consultants of the requirement to assign accredited project engineers to DPWH projects. It also provides guidelines on the validity and application period of accreditation examination results to increase the number of accredited engineers available for the project implementation. Department Order Number 58, Series of 2012, inclusion of material data on pledged equipment of a bidder in his bid documents. This requires bidders to submit complete technical information on all equipment pledged for a project, including specifications, capacities, and locations. The purpose is to facilitate equipment verification during post-qualification and ensure that contractors possess the resources necessary to undertake the project. Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012, Technical Requirements for Civil Works Projects for Public Bidding. This order provides guidelines on the technical requirements for civil works projects, including the proper classification of project categories, verification of key technical personnel, and inspection of pledged equipment. It seeks to prevent delays and ensure transparency during eligibility checking and post-qualification. Department Order Number 110, Series of 2024, Implementation of ISO 9001:2015, Certification Requirement for a large A, medium B, and medium A contractors in the procurement of infrastructure projects of the department. This order mandates ISO 9001:2015 certification as a requirement for specific or specified categories of contractors participating in DPWH infrastructures. The policy aims to promote quality management, efficiency, and adherence to international standards in project implementation. Department Order Number 48, Series of 2019, Guidelines on the use of inertial profiler for inspection and acceptance of payment on national primary roads. This order establishes the use of the inertial profiler, or IP, and the International Roughness Index, or IRI, in evaluating pavement smoothness on national primary roads. It requires implementing office to include pavement smoothness requirement in contracted documents and ensures that road quality is objectively measured before project acceptance. Department Order Number 253, Series of 2003, Accreditation of Asphalt and Portland Cement Concrete Matching Plans. This order authorizes the Bureau of Research and Standards, or BRS, to accredit asphalt and concrete matching plants supplying materials for DPWH projects. It aims to improve the quality of construction materials used in public infrastructure by requiring suppliers to comply with accreditation standards. Department Order Number 127, Series of 2018, strict application of RA 9184 in the conduct of post-qualification of bidders with delayed ongoing contracts with DPWH. This order lengthens the post-qualification process by requiring the banks to verify the bidder's experience, key technical personnel, equipment, and performance in ongoing projects. Contractors with significant negative slippage or poor performance records may be disqualified to ensure that only capable contractors are awarded DPWH projects. And lastly, reminders to visit the works committees and procurement unit related to Memorandum dated May 28, 2026. Subject: strengthening disclosure on ongoing and awarded projects and verification of net financial contracting capacity for the NFCC in DPWH procurement. This memorandum reinforces the requirement for bidders to fully and truthfully disclose all ongoing projects and awarded contracts, including those not yet started during the bidding process. And bidders should ensure that all of their completed and ongoing DPWH projects are updated in the PCMA. It directs the banks and the procurement units to remind prospective bidders on this obligation during pre-bid conferences and warns that failure to disclose such contracts may result in disqualification and other sanctions. That would be all, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. There being no other matter to discuss, considering that there are no interested bidder in attendance. On behalf of the Business Committee, we would like to extend our appreciate to our hardworking young engineers. Thank you so much for your effort and for your presentation. The pre-bid conference is hereby adjourned.